What is it with you? What do you got, a death wish or something?
That's what it takes. I just want to race.
All right, Diesel heads, it's episode 20 of the Chronicles of Diesel, the only show that continues through everything Vin Diesel has ever done. His films, his movies, his games. I said two of the same thing twice. That's how words work. My name is Ethan, and with me here to... what would be a good verb that relates to this movie? Survive. I don't know.
Hunt.
Devin is here with me, as always, to talk about Riddick and Riddick Blindsided. What's up?
I love those toenails, by the way.
Nice, nice. There was a quote that I couldn't remember, but honestly, like, I watched this movie today, and then the whole time I'm at work, I'm like in my head monologuing like Vin Diesel, like, that's the way it is, Johns. Like, I'm just doing that while I'm at work in my head.
You're
At
turning
one point I
solely
said
into Vin
something
Diesel.
out loud. I'm like, or like, I was missing something. I'm like, one's missing. And I found it later. I'm like, they always turn up in the ends, don't they, Johns? Like, see, he probably would have said, you
This
know?
is what a pandemic does to a person. You just turn into a fictional character. Next time at work, if someone talks, just try to do that voice.
I gotta practice, because I always feel like I could do voices, and then I try.
At least try your best,
Yeah, I gotta like try in private, you know what I mean? Which is weird because the walls here are a little thin.
Every time before you go to bed and you're brushing your teeth, look at the mirror and be like, "I'm Riddick."
Yeah. Any case, we watched Riddick, the 2013 film, as well as Riddick Blindsided, the short animated comic thing of the same year. We're going to be talking about those today on the Chronicles of Diesel. As you guys remember, first of every month, we've been going through Vin Diesel's chronological thing, his chronology.
His
Is that what it'd be?
biology.
His filmography, and all the games he's done were basically all done besides the last Fast and Furious game that came out like last year. But that's many episodes away. We talked about his singles that may hopefully turn into an album. And then all sorts of Vin Diesel stuff. This is the only show that does everything Vin Diesel. I don't know why you're laughing at me, but
I just like the idea every time we do this intro that this is the first time someone's listening to it and they're like,
probably
this is what I wanted. This is what I've been looking for years.
I've been seeing it pop up on my feed because I search Vin Diesel every week on my podcast platform of choice.
Finally, someone
And,
who's watched every Vin Diesel movie.
Exactly. We're the
I don't know
only
why
ones,
the guy talks like a New Yorker.
Yeah,
That's what I imagine.
yeah.
I'm stuck
But
in
you
my
know what?
studio apartment, and that's all I do is watch Vin movies.
My 300 square foot flat. Yes. But before we talk about our 2013 stuff today, let's talk about our October 2021 stuff. Devin, tell me what Vin Diesel has done in the past month.
All right, everybody, welcome to VNN, your best, not best, but one of your first news sources I would recommend if you want to know everything about what Vin Diesel is doing, whether it's taking someone to their marriage. It may what if he's on a scooter and he's trying to sell that scooter? What if he is hanging out with someone and he's playing his music on a speaker but it's low quality, so you can't really tell? Well, this is the place for you, VNN. So how we do VNN is I usually look at Instagram and see what he's been up to, because that's a direct source. It's a primary source. If you've taken any social studies course throughout high school or college, you know that a primary source is straight from the person, maybe whether it's a diary or whatnot. In this case, it's Instagram. And on Instagram, we've been tracking his followers for quite some time. Over a year. I don't remember when we first started, but according to my list here, it looks like it's more than 12. So it's been over a year. And last month, he was at 74.4 million followers. This is a lot of followers.
More than I have.
Yes. Can you guess what he's at now? He actually had a pretty big bump.
75.2.
75.8.
Oh, damn, that's really high. Damn.
Yeah, compared
right.
to in August, he had 73.4, and he jumped up to 74.4. And I think that was the last we thought of the Fast 9 bump. I don't know if it's because Fast 9 Director's Cut came out or something, and like people are buying the movie or something, but like to have a 1.4 million jump in a month is pretty crazy.
Jesus. Can our by the way, can our podcast get that number of jump and just downloads too, you know? We'd like to actually get advertising at one point. We need sponsors.
Maybe if everyone just tags Vin Diesel, maybe Vin Diesel does reshare fan art. I don't know if he's done podcasts though.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe we'll send you remember back in April our Vin Diesel Chronicles Diesel year 1 art thing that I did?
Yeah.
That you posted at some point?
Yeah.
And just send it to him every week. Hey, we did this back in April. We did this back in April.
We
Give
could.
a show.
We could.
Yeah.
But yeah, 75.8 million, pretty big number. I mean, 1.4 million followers every month. I mean, he's gonna get to 100
Jesus.
eventually. We say this every month, but every time we get closer, I'm getting excited. But that is not the main news here I want to talk about. But we're going to stick to Instagram for right now. But he had 14 posts. He usually has, as of late, only done 5 or 6. 14 posts. So maybe that's another reason maybe his followers went up. Maybe he's just posting more content, and it's getting in the algorithm more. That could be it, too. But he's on 14 posts. I'm not going to talk about every single one because you can just go on it yourself. But I do want to bring it up to everybody. A couple posts that I thought were interesting. The first one I want to talk about is, let's see here. Oh yeah, I want to talk about this one that I sent you, Ethan. I just thought it was funny that he has a video of just like his mouth and his torso, and he's just doing leg presses. I thought that was important to show that he's working out, because I think he's working out for a movie. I think because we know that he's been working on a script for The Last Witch Hunter. We know F10 is probably going to start filming at some point, so I think he's just getting that work in, you know. But it was just funny to me. But he did another post with Jordana Brewster, where he basically says that he loves her, and then he sees her as a sister, not just on the screen, but off the screen. And I'm like, shout out to Vin. Vin, we've known that part of the Dominic Toretto in him, or rather the Vin Diesel in Dominic Toretto, is he does care about family. I know it's kind of people meme about it. He had like that meme, you know, a couple months ago when F9 was at its peak. But he legitimately, I think, like, does believe in that. Like, he sees like friends as like part of the family, and like he would die for them. Kind of, that's the kind of energy I get from him, and I respect that. I really like that energy. I like that wholesome love. He did do a post of himself, a selfie of, not selfie, but a picture of him, and it just said Happy Toretto Tuesday, which I like that. I like Toretto Tuesdays. I don't know about you, but maybe we should move the episode to the first Tuesday of every month.
Oof. But
Happy
I don't
Toretto
know.
Tuesday. Happy Toretto
First
Tuesday.
of the month is something that everyone knows when that is, though.
Every
I don't
Tuesday.
know.
Toretto Tuesday. Something to think about.
Okay.
And then he is in a golf cart with Ruby Rose, which she's been in the news lately.
Mm-hmm. We talked about her Batwoman stuff on the previous episode of the Sonic movie show.
I actually read that like some people on set said they're like, no, she was a dictator. I'm like, yes, an actor is a dictator. Yeah, makes sense. Not the director, not the people who pay you. She's the dictator. Whatever. Shout out to I said Jordana Brewster. Ruby Rose. All right. Shout out to Ruby Rose.
Shout out to Jordana Brewster as well, though.
Yeah.
Just because.
Yeah. You get the Sonic movie show, Chronicles of Diesel. 2 thumbs up. But yeah, he was in a golf cart with her, and he was just saying hello, and they're on the way to somewhere. So it makes me think that they're filming something, or they're just hanging out. It might be more that they're hanging out, because in the next post is one that I sent you. This is pretty exciting.
Yes.
So I guess his kid is hosting a D&D session as the kid, as them being the dungeon master.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're either playing one of the campaigns that we do, which
Yes.
is
So
all of a sudden. But
Devin and I, as well as a couple other people, friends and whatnot, are in a Dungeons and Dragons session. We're playing, since we're all new, we've been doing just one of the standard books you can buy, the modern day ones, Rime of the Frost Maiden, it's called.
That's what it's called, yeah.
And it's sitting on the table suggesting to me that is the book that the kid's doing. Hopefully he does a better job than David does. David, this is a shout out for you because I know you listen to the show. You need to step it up, all right? We just hit level 8. Are you fucking kidding me? I was possessed by a ghost for a month. In any case, can go on. Continue.
But also there is Ruby Rose playing, and I guess it's their first time playing D&D. But they're doing not what we're doing. They're not on Roll20. They're pen and paper. They have a full ass dining room table, which looks really nice.
Yes.
Also, they had like dinosaur drawings. I thought that was related. I actually think those dinosaurs might be related to Ark. That might be being conspiracy theorists a little bit, but that could be like Vin got like designs of the dinosaurs and his like kids colored them in or something like that. They looked
My
well
first
drawn.
thought, honestly, was that he was at some kids center and it was a whole bunch of different like games going on at once. Like he was visiting a thing and hosting or something. Turns out it was just private, but they were in some giant ass room. And all those were DM screens that the kids had. But
so they had a lot of different. There's a lot of clues.
I do just want to just throw this out there. I know you're talking about how fun it is to play in person. I don't want to disparage Roll20 because I feel like they're going to be a future sponsor. Because we get the emails from them all the time, being please Sonic Movie Show, please Chronicles of Diesel, take our millions of dollars to talk about our service. One email even said,
please, Daddy.
Exactly. That's how desperate they were. Like, whatever turns us on, that's what they wanted. So please. Well, thank you for your future sponsorship, Roll20. That's it. But it's cool to see that the Vin Diesel Dungeons and Dragons legacy is going on through the kid. Because we've talked about it before. The man wrote the foreword to one of, like, I think the third edition Dungeons and Dragons books or something like that, right?
Yeah, this guy who you think is... I think the plebs out there, the uncultured swine out there who think that Vin Diesel's some meathead. No, this man is a gentle giant, a nerdy gentle giant. I mean, like literally just what movies we're talking about today. That shit meatheads don't do.
Exactly.
Right? They don't
also,
do that.
He's also gentle because he has an iPhone 13 Pro. That's what he filmed it with. That's what it looked like. That's what it looked like.
But yeah, and I guess his nickname, according to his son, is DN Diesel.
The kid said D&D Diesel.
D&D Diesel.
Eventually, and this probably unless something changes, our February episode of the Chronicles of Diesel will be about the last witch hunter. The last wench hunter.
Oh
He's just hunting the women's. It's like Why the Last Man, but reversed. I've never read that book either. In addition to that, we're also talking about the Critical Role Vin Diesel short they did, which was called D and Diesel. That was like a promotional tie-in to the movie. Like they actually made a character class, like a witch hunter thing. So eventually we'll watch that. But yes, we will actually have to report on whether or not Vin Diesel is actually good at Dungeons and Dragons in the future.
He better be. I have high expectations.
Be embarrassed if he's not. If he's worse than us, there's
no way. I mean, he's an actor.
That doesn't mean he's good at problem solving.
I'm saying like role
or
playing.
figuring shit out.
I'm saying role playing.
I would hope so. He's gotten paid to do it.
Ruby Rose was nicknamed Ruby Rolls, which I thought was a great pun. So shout out to
I thought it was actually very corny.
It's corny, but it was a great pun. But yeah, I think that was the most interesting post, except for this other one. This other one, he's on a hike and he's like a bunch of yellow trees behind him. It's fall. It's beautiful. Best time of year, right? And in the video, he's mentioning that he's on a hike, and on the hike, he's reminiscing about a couple different things, mostly related to his mother. So we're going to talk about history in a second, but I want to go back a little further. He mentions in here that during Saving Private Ryan, he took his mother to Europe, and that was like always like her dream was to go visit Europe, and like he was able to do that with Saving Private Ryan. So that's pretty cool. And then he also mentions that during the first Fast movie, he was able to give her a country home, which is something that she always dreamed about having. He was able to do that. So I'm like, shout out to Vin.
Is she still alive?
I'm not sure. He didn't say.
Because the way you're talking about it sounds like it's all past tense.
Yeah, I'm not
in
sure.
regards
But
to...
because he's hiking the countryside, he's saying that it reminds him of his mother, and like that he was so happy that was blessed and was able to like give her those things with his career. So I think that was really wholesome. Once again, Vin's a real one. Vin's a real. We know this at this point, but Vin's a real one.
One of the real ones.
But at the end, he was saying that like in general, the seasons changing remind him of cycle of life, and like he says, as he's gotten older, he always finds peace and whatnot when he's out in nature and out in the country. And I related with that because one of my stress-free things I like to do is hiking, and like when I'm feeling very stressed, I like to go hiking, and it kind of like takes me out of it, keeps me grounded. And so I'm like, Vin, shout out to you, bud. You make me relate to you like that. So yeah, Vin's a real one. He also did another video, a sing along with his kid, like a duet. He did with his one kid, and he did with another one. They did the Bare Necessities. So if you want to hear that, you can go find that on his Instagram. And it looks like we have a breaking news post, which I haven't seen. Hold up.
Is this actual breaking news?
Oh my gosh. This is breaking news. This was 1 hour ago. He's giving a shout out to Sony Latin, and he has a group of people behind him. It looks like a studio, and he just said,
"Oh, album time."
Yep. He's like, I'm here in the studio with this incredible team. So excited. Share with the world. Music that he's blessed to be part of. So yep. Breaking news, VNN right here, right now. We don't have a siren sound or anything, but if we did, it'd be playing right now. So if you have your own.
Wait, is the post just saying that he's recording, or is it announcing anything?
He's just announcing. He says, "Gracias," and doing the prayer hand emojis, and it says hashtag Sony Latin. And in the video, it's him and a bunch of people, and he's just saying, "I thank you for letting me do this." So it sounds like he's maybe wrapping up an album, or he's in the process of doing it. But you were just talking about it. I think we're gonna get it before Christmas. I remember a couple episodes ago. He mentioned in his one Instagram video that made it sound like it was going to come out within this year, and I still think it's going to come out around Christmas. I think it's going to be a free thing because Vin is of the people. He's going to give it out to everybody, and it's going to be around Christmas time. Like a week
going to be
before.
like that U2 album where it just showed up on our phones one day, and we're like,
everyone
no.
will be happy. Everyone will be happy. The people will rejoice. But yeah, there you go. That's honestly the best way I could end it. Besides, I need to mention that he did. I thought this was cute as well. He
ran over 3 kittens with his giant SUV.
No, Paul Walker's daughter got married. Meadow Walker. She got married, and Vin walked her down the aisle because usually you have the father do that. And Vin did that on Paul Walker's behalf, and like she was saying how grateful she is, and there's photos of it. Vin looking good, by the way, and he has like a light blue suit. He's killing it. It's on a beach somewhere. So Vin, once again, he believes in the whole like family thing. He really does, and like I think he acts on that. He isn't just all for words. He doesn't say it. I know he says Dominic Toretto says it in the movies, but like legit, I think he believes that shit. So. Yeah, and then I wanted to mention back with Ruby Rose, she's in Triple X, Xander Cage, Triple X, and like they're like best buds, I guess. So we'll find out more.
We unfortunately won't see that movie until episode 25 in April. But yeah,
sorry that was a longer VNN, but I'd rather have it be longer.
It's good stuff.
It's
good stuff.
coming out.
Most of the time, it's just like, Kenny said this cute thing, but here is actual like cool information. You know, he's literally playing our Dungeons and Dragons campaign. Maybe I can get him to join our next one, you know, because I'm going to be hosting our next one.
Just
all pirate stuff.
So we just need to reach out to him.
Exactly.
He has to have an email, right? Like vindiesel@gmail.com.
Or just vin@vindiesel.com.
thedom@gmail.com.
Yeah, exactly. Or it's just like a gamer tag type shit with like lowercase x, capital X, name,
Riddick
hyphen,
fan.
Yeah. man, I wish I could change my PSN name and not risk losing all my trophies because I don't want to be Roxas Blaziken anymore. I want to be absolutely Ethan, please, but can't risk it. I literally have the Chronicles of Riddick trophies. I can't lose those. I have Wheelman trophies.
To me, those are the ones that really matter right there.
Exactly.
People don't think about that, but...
Not my fucking 600-hour platinums on RPGs that are...
No one gives a shit. Everyone cares about those Chronicles of Riddick.
That I haven't platinumed and never will.
It's not about the plats, though, there. It's just like, you've played the game.
I've humored the idea of going back and trying to platinum Wheelman, just doing all those side mission challenges or whatever, because you need to like S rank them all or whatever, A rank, whatever the highest was. And I used a guide that says, just do them in this order because you get upgrades to your cars, your ability to drive, depending on which ones you do.
Which we didn't
do them
do
in this order
originally.
No, we did like one of each type, and I'm like, cool, that's what I'll do. And then I just wasn't having fun on stream, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going back to this. Sorry, Vin Diesel. Maybe one day. Let's talk about Riddick and Riddick Blindsided. Why don't we start with Riddick Blindsided?
I was going to say,
let's talk about...
technically like...
It did release first, so...
Yeah, I was going to say.
So how this happened, so as we've talked about on an old episode of the Sonic movie shows... No, not Sonic movie show. An old episode of the Chronicles of Riddick... episode 14, the one we released in May, the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, or no, I guess this, whatever, May or June, we talked about how Vin Diesel did a cameo in Tokyo Drift at the very end as a giant deal. Instead of getting paid to do the cameo, he would gain ownership from Universal over the Chronicles of Riddick, or just the Riddick stuff. He would own that film rights, everything about Riddick. It's all his. So then from that point forward, it was always just like, oh, they're going to be making a new one. There was like rumors since like he acquired it that, oh yeah, there's going to be a new one. It wasn't until like 2011 that they actually get the ball rolling on doing this stuff. And this also parallels to today, where it's like 2014, they announced, oh, we want to make another one. And then it was like 2017, he's like, we might start production soon.
Yeah.
And it's like, now where it's like, we have a script. It's like that kind of stuff where it's like slowly over
like
time.
More of a passion project and not like, this is going to pay the bills project, which Fast and Furious can be both passion project and paying the bills. Fast and Furious is raking in so much money. Like,
right. You could say initially passion. Now it just doesn't need the passion. It has it, but it doesn't need it to keep going. But you say passion project. This is very important because this film, the budget on it. Why don't you give me a guess for the budget?
Budget? There's a lot of CG. It's 2012, right?
13.
2013. Good year. 100 mil.
$38 million.
Damn.
Very low budget. The box office on this film is only $98 million. But passion project is, again, Vin Diesel owns it. Him and David Twohy, who's the writer and director on all these films, immediately were like, yeah, we want to make more because they can. And the fact that it made its money back, I hope a good amount of money from that went into the funds for this next movie. Universal did have a little bit of part of it, I guess. Is important because they ran out of money. In order to continue filming this movie, Vin Diesel had to mortgage his house. He had to take out giant loans in his own name, personally. If this movie bombed or if they couldn't finish it, he would have lost his house.
I always wonder how, like, because this is a whole like difference in like class, right? Like we work our 9 to 5s or whatever, or our 2 part-time jobs, whatever it may be, right? Mm-hmm. We'll never know what it's like to be an artist full-time, probably, and even then. There's a difference between being a dude on Twitch who makes $50K a year, maybe, right? And Vin Diesel makes millions and millions of dollars every year. And there's even a difference between him and like someone like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, which is just stupid money. Sure. They're closer to being poor than they are rich, whatever. But it's funny to think, like, I always want to know how those conversations happen. Hey, I have 3 houses. I'm going to mortgage one of them. Like, I'm going to have to, like...
I don't think he had. I think he literally only had just his house. If we look at his trajectory from the films that he's done, I don't think he really got like bang, bang, bang money until like maybe around here. Maybe past Fast and Furious 6. Like, it's around here. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy probably gave him money. But even then, like, I don't think he's like a mega ultra millionaire.
Not ultra millionaire,
like,
but I'm just saying, like, I want all those conversations happen, like, where it's like, hey, family, we might lose this house.
Yeah.
If, like, my passion project it bombs. And I always want to know how that...
He had kids at the time, too. This was still...
Like, I want to know how that happened. And, like, that's once again, I would love to have Vin Diesel on the show, because I'd ask him these kind of questions. Be like, how is that, like... If you want to be that personal, like, how is that... Like, how did that go down? Was it more of, like, a trust that your family had? Like, did you ever be stressed about that? You know, like, actors, play it off cool all the time, right? But, like, it's got to be stressful, because, like, we only get $10 million in the box office, then what?
Right. And you're fucked.
Like, maybe you're still, if you probably still has millions of dollars, so you can get a smaller house or whatnot. But still, it changes the what happens. Maybe. Yeah. For us, like, it's like the example of like, hey, I want to cuss out my boss tomorrow. I have 3 kids. If I cuss out my boss tomorrow, I'll probably get fired, and that impacts things. Like, it's kind of the same level, but like for millionaires, and like I feel like it's hard for me to wrap my head around that. But every time I hear that, I'm always like, how does that work?
Yeah. He mortgaged his house. He took out massive loans personally to fund the movie. That's why it's only $38 million budget. And this leads to the saddest thing about this whole thing.
I don't like
saddest thing. Saddest thing about this.
Happy Vin stuff. Come on.
Due to budget restraints required of the film, it had to be shot digitally and not on 35 millimeter. We will never get like a 4K port, Jesus. You know what I mean? Version of the film. We won't. This is like Star Wars prequels where it was shot digitally at 1080p or whatever this was shot at, and that's just it. Vin Diesel really wanted on 35 millimeter, but they couldn't because of their budget, which sucks. And you could even see, like, we watched it on Amazon Prime, not 4K. Pretty much everything we've been doing now that is somewhat known has a 4K version that's just on there now. This isn't. I wouldn't be surprised if they just can't. It's just 1080p. That's the way the film is. But any case, that was Riddick. So it's been constantly going through. The film's officially revealed in San Diego Comic-Con 2013, I believe. And it had or at least the first trailer for the film came out in San Diego Comic-Con in 2013. That is also immediately after that they showed Riddick Blindsided. That's where that comes from. We watched it. I guess we will talk about it now, not necessarily in super detail. It's only 6 minutes long. You could say it's almost similar. It serves a similar function to the Chronicles of Riddick Dark Fury in that it is a bridging the gap between the previous movie and now, which is kind of required for some people that want to know more because of how old the older movie was. And even then, Pitch Black 2 Chronicles of Riddick. Unfortunately, this is also stuff that's in the movie.
Honestly,
anyway,
it's almost scene by scene.
Yeah.
Like that. And I also wonder because I have issues with the audio quality in this, I wonder if it's straight cut from the film and put in here and not re-recorded.
So. I think so.
Because there's moments where I'm just like, you can hear like the noise gate or whatever it was, the not the noise gate, but
just ambience.
Ambience disappear and then come back.
Yeah.
When Vin talks, and it sounds like at moments where it sounded like, and I know because it's an old video that we watched on YouTube. It's from 2013, so that might have been it too. But like it sounded like he was recording in a booth. But then I know that's not the case once I saw the movie because I'm like, no, these are the same lines. And he enunciates them the same exact way.
There's a couple differences.
He really did a complete new takes on it, and they just sound so similar you don't notice.
Yeah.
But
well, we'll get to it. We watch when we talk about Riddick. We watch the unrated version. That scene's actually very different between that and the theatrical version. And they have stuff in each that is being used in Blindsided.
Interesting.
Which is interesting. Interesting for sure. But yeah, like to me, so to actually talk about it, because we actually should talk about like what it is. beat for beat, really. It is the Riddick itself the movie will show this when we get there, but it's essentially after Chronicles of Riddick, he's the king of the necromongers, and he is basically not considered illegitimate, and he doesn't even really want to be there. It's just happenstance is how he got there, as we saw in the Chronicles of Riddick. He is with all these women. The assassin tries to kill him. One of the women tries to kill him, and then Vaco alludes to transcendence, and Vin Diesel wants to go to his home planet that he was there maybe as a child or whatever, Furia. That's really it, right?
Yeah, and well, isn't that...
That's shown here.
I forget if it was them themselves who wiped out.
It is, but we don't see it. The movie will tell us. This wasn't in Blindside. They don't say that part.
I just remember, I think they mentioned it in Chronicles of Riddick. What they kept hinting at, because remember he has like flashbacks.
Hinting, yeah. And that was also stuff in that director's cut that wasn't in the theatrical, trying to actually create lore. Wasn't in, which is crazy, right? Giving the main character lore, so to speak. But you're right. To me, this Blindsided, I don't say reeks of, because it almost gives like a negative impression when you say reeks, but it really strongly shows me just an artistic desire to just show something. To me, this really was just like, hey, look at this cool thing we made. We really want to make this movie. We're excited to show you. It's been a long time coming. Here's just a thing. Like, this I obviously could be a Blu-ray bonus feature maybe for the film Riddick itself. It probably is. I don't think that it's sold anywhere. We watched it ripped on YouTube. You know what I mean? It probably was from an official feed from San Diego Comic-Con, but this is 100% a like comic convention. We're excited. You know what I mean?
Hype
Thank you guys for
thing.
coming. Yeah. So
It's
like
it was almost like a teaser, really.
Yeah, it's a 6-minute trailer, it feels like, you know what I mean? It almost kind of looks like just storyboard stuff. Like, it's a motion comic, it's just storyboards. But, like, I have nothing really about it to say, it is what it is. Yeah. It's just stuff. I will say this, I watched it after I saw the movie. So for me, it definitely felt like a repeat.
See, I watched Blindsided first, actually.
Okay, interesting.
And like, I was like, okay, because watching this teaser, or whatever it was, comic book movie, because I remember we talked about in Chronicles of Riddick. Okay, where is this going to go next? Now that he's taken the throne by combat or whatever their rules are, and once I saw this, I'm just like, okay, so this is going to bridge the gap to Riddick. I guess maybe they're just completely scrapping this whole him being king thing, because we thought it would be... Well, we'll get to it when we talk about what Riddick was and how it's completely different than what I thought it was going to be.
For sure.
And like this was like, okay, maybe they're going to go a different direction. But it's not going to be such a big jump to difference in terms of what Chronicles of Riddick was to Riddick.
Yeah.
But like watching it, and then when it was happening in the movie, I'm just like, wait a minute. Did they just pull lines and like ad-lib additional ones to this comic book thing? And then I'm like, no, it kept going and going. I'm like, no, this is the whole scene.
Yeah, which is interesting. Again, like to me, it just feels like they took the storyboard and were like, let's make something cool out of this and show it to people.
And granted, people
as a way
who
to
probably
hype up the movie.
saw that at that point probably saw it, and then months later they saw the movie, so they probably don't remember that it was like word for word,
legit verbatim. Yeah, but we'll get there, because like I said, that there's technically 3 different versions of that scene, because there's stuff in this that didn't happen in either the theatrical or the unrated version of that scene, which is to make it a little bit more actiony. But yeah, I think that's that. We will talk about it when we talk about Riddick at the end of this episode as well. Let's talk about Riddick. As I said, budget $38 million, box office $98 million, written and directed by David Twohy, as always. Producers were Vin Diesel, Ted Field, and Samantha Vincent. I don't know anything about Samantha Vincent, but Ted Field is just a legacy executive producer, just done a shit ton of stuff.
How do you get that job?
Lots of comedies, the Bill and Ted movies, the Jumanji movies from nowadays, just stuff. Just stuff. Also is producer on the Chronicles of Riddick. So, interesting. Also want to point out, Pitch Black was rated R. Chronicles of Riddick, PG-13. Riddick, R. And obviously we watched an unrated version of that as well. So they went back to R. That's something they really wanted to stress. And they did say the fourth film, which I think is currently officially titled Riddick 4 Furia, is also rated R, which is good because the PG-13ness is kind of how you get into like weird just Roman space battles, and the grittiness kind of falls apart in Chronicles of Riddick that this movie kind of brings back.
Yeah.
Before we really like delve into like the whole recap, let's just talk like overall and initial thoughts. I will just briefly say, surprised that this is basically, I don't want to say basically Pitch Black again, but it's just that idea way more than the Chronicles of Riddick was. It almost feels now like Chronicles of Riddick was some weird thing. Because, and I'll let you talk in a second, we were shocked at the Chronicles of Riddick's direction. Or like, wow, it went from Pitch Black, classic, like alien almost type of science fiction where it's our world, but expanded outwards. It's Earth culture, Earth people, Earth society, expanded to Mars and further and further. That's what Pitch Black felt like. And then Chronicles of Riddick was, no, it's just intergalactic Roman shit.
Almost high
Earth was just a part of
it.
High fantasy and space fantasy, right? And now Riddick here feels a lot less like Chronicles of Riddick type of space fantasy. Like, no, we're back to just mercs that have like routines. They have stations. There's business shit. It's not less like, what if Athens was a planet type of shit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What did you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was not expecting them to... I honestly, this was grounded. And I feel like this is closer to what Pitch Black would have been if, like, from the get-go, they were like, no, we're going to make Riddick our main character. Because we got to remember that Pitch Black had nothing to do... Like, Riddick was supposed to be just, like, one of the characters, not the main guy. And they
Right.
And through production, or through the filming of it, they made Riddick the main guy, because Vin stole the show. So I think that if, like, that happened, this is closer to what I think Pitch Black really would have been. But I feel like they kind of just, I think, took a step back, being like, okay, do we really want to do a Star Trek or like a Star Wars with this, really? Not saying they're exactly, the Chronicles of Riddick is exactly like those things, but like going in that direction of like, okay, our hero needs to fight this big entity of, this, like you said, space Athens, or some other conquering civilization, like, because, it's been done before. And I feel like Pitch Black at least was original at moments. Maybe it was loosely based off like an Alien or Aliens, right? But at least it was original. We had our critiques of it. But I'm actually kind of happy. I don't know what I said for Chronicles of Riddick. I remember I think I said saying I kind of liked the change in direction from Riddick or from Pitch Black, because Pitch Black, I think we liked half of the movie. We liked the monster shit more than like Riddick hunting down people. I think that's what we said. Could be wrong. It's been a year and a half at this point. But But for me, it's like I'm kind of glad they went for this more grounded. It all happens on one planet. We quickly ditch the whole I'm the king of this new or the king of this Athens here, the Darkmongers or Nightmongers, whatever they're called.
Necromongers.
I got them both wrong. We quickly ditch that, and we're going to go back to like him being kind of they say anti-hero in the description, but he's kind of just a bad guy for the most part.
Yeah, he's just an asshole.
And I really liked the beginning, like the first, like, honestly 25 minutes of him just surviving and like showing how he's like an animal. He has the will to survive more than other people will. He'll figure it out. He's willing to, break his leg.
The film actually makes an attempt to humanize him by putting the dog in there.
Yeah, and they also make him, in this movie compared to the other two, where he isn't invincible. He needs to be saved.
Yes.
He gets his ass handed to him.
Yes.
A couple of times.
Yeah.
You know, and he even admits in the beginning of the movie that like I've lost my ways. So it's like kind of acknowledging like, okay, this guy got away with a lot of like him being the prophet, him knowing everyone's moves before they're made.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of
there's still some of that in here, but it doesn't feel like it's as roll my eyes that I've had with
and that was a
him in the
critique
past.
we've had, and I think they, like I said, they've grounded this. They got away from the high fantasy. They went with back to a merc-centered, like you said, a merc-centered plot of characters. They even had a callback to a character that was in the games and in the first movie, first two movies. That's cool. So they did bring it back to people who watched all the movies, but you can watch this movie by itself, technically.
Yeah.
They quickly explain everything and ditch everything. And at first I was like, when this is happening, I'm like, am I going to like this, where this is going? And I'm like, you know what? I'm glad. Who cares about those mongers? You know, like, it would have been an interesting concept. I thought his like armor when he was wearing the helmet or the crown or whatever was all cool, but like,
yeah, I don't remember that outfit from the Chronicles of Riddick. So
me neither. But he looked
must have
cool.
been
But
just
I was
something cool.
at the same time, I was just like, you know what? I'm
glad that we left that because it could have been so boring seeing him like that type of character as a king telling people what to do.
I think it helps that I think we liked it too because we played 2 games. I'm curious what our thoughts would have been maybe if like we'd only seen the 2 movies like right before we saw this third one. If we just watched all 3 of them back to back, how we would feel. Because like playing those games, I feel like we were kind of sick of like, okay, we're going through this ship to fight these other like they were mercs, but like they were like it seemed much more organized. Like these guys were just like, no, they're a crew of 5-6 people. And I like that shit. Like, you don't need to know anything about them. They all have their own uniqueness. But yeah,
the only thing I can think of, sorry to cut you off there. The only thing I can think of what if they were to not kick him out of high fantasy land right away, if this movie's still centered about that, the only thing I can think of that they might do is just the fact that he is not supposed to have been there, and there's a large number of people that don't want him there, and how he dealt with that. You know, like the assassination attempts and all that type of stuff was really all I can think of that, like, they would have continued. I don't see him leading a crusade on another planet or anything like that. So I'm glad.
Yeah, because the character is
like
set
this.
up as, like, I'm smarter than everyone, and he's also... It's also portrayed as, like, I don't need anybody, really. And every time he has needed somebody, they die, for the most part.
Yeah.
So, like... It never made sense for him to be king, anyways.
Yeah, I'm glad they moved on. Let's start the recap of this film. Riddick wakes up stranded with a broken leg, surviving in the middle of nowhere, and is attacked by various monsters. And I like this because I'm like, wait a second, I thought this motherfucker was Space King. What's going on? He's going through all this stuff. This is where he fixes his leg. We see the giant dog-type jackals.
They're like hyena zebras. I don't even know.
Yeah. Well, I have subtitles on when I watch films for this, so for my notes and all that stuff, and the subtitles kept calling them jackals.
Okay.
Like jackal whining and jackal this, jackal that. I'm like, huh, they're just dogs. Riddick then has flashbacks about the previous movie, eventually showing the audience a bit of what it was like to be king of the necromongers from the last movie, which is cool. This is where we get some of that stuff. And then now I'll talk about Riddick has had assassins sent after him as king, and he just wants to go to his home planet of Furia. Vaco from the last movie knows where it is. So here, let me talk about the Riddick Blindsided showed this whole thing. And Riddick Blindsided, he's like everything like we said. Like the woman's talking to him, he's with all the women, then an assassin comes, tries to kill him, then the woman stabs him, yada yada. In the unrated version of the film that we watched, he wakes up, or he's in a chair next to a bed full of all these naked women. That's probably where some of the unrated stuff comes from, with the nipples. Or maybe rated R could probably still show that too, right?
You can show boobies.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if there's like a rule of how many boobies, but I think you can.
There might have been.
No, there's definitely been movies I've seen that are rated R, and there's like plenty of tits. I think it's like if you start showing like
more
badges, and
sure,
dicks, then you're getting to the. I think you can probably show one dick in a rated R movie or like one vagina, but I think once you start Like
The Simpsons movie, which I don't think was rated R, had Bart Simpson's penis in it briefly.
yeah.
Any case, the unrated version that we watched, he's in the chair next to all the women. They're all like, "Oh, come back to bed."
Oh, Riddick.
And then one of them comes up to him and she's saying, "None of these people trust you. They think you're illegitimate. They don't think you have the faith. You shouldn't have been king." And then she says, "What's the closest way to a man's heart?" And he says, "Between the fourth and the fifth rib. That's where I usually go. You want to twist it at the end to make sure." It's like, that's a bit of that just like Riddickness. I don't even know how to. We described it in so many different ways. The Riddickness of it. And then she says, "Do you think the guards are still here?" He goes up, brushes the thing, which I think is very cool. I liked we talked about the Chronicles of Riddick and how like they have all this weird future tech in very weird ways. It's like very, very physical and interesting. This was that. She then stabs him in the back, but she misses, and he says, "That's just a body cavity," and then he kills her, right?
What if that's
then
true?
Vaco, probably. Then Vaco comes in. Also, fourth and fifth from what? Counting up or down?
What if you have less ribs? Do people have more of the same ribs? I don't even know.
I'm sure it's like fingers. There are people that have more sometimes,
Yeah.
Every
I
now
don't
and
know
then.
if there's like people have 5. Maybe you're born with 6 if your genetics are different. But
6 total. I have 3 and 3.
Yeah.
Vaco comes in, and Riddick is like, "So many assassination attempts, commander, and blah, blah, blah." And Vaco's like, "I want transcendence. Also, I know where your home planet is. Also,
What is
I was there when we
I'm
killed
kind
him."
of confused of what that means. Is this just...
It's a part of their religion and shit. Because they believed in the Underdark and like an afterlife
really
type of
remember
thing.
too much
I think
else.
that's what he wanted, right? And basically, let me see a dude with scars all over his face, and he'll take Riddick there. That's it. That's the unrated version. In the comic, Riddick has a couple extra lines where he talks about the oath. He never really agreed to do it. And the assassin is actually just like a crazy armored dude barges in, and then the woman stabs him. So that's different. Theatrical version, Riddick is drinking in the chair, and Vaco comes in. And they say, "Oh, lots of assassination attempts." So we skip all of that stuff.
I actually
That's
like
the
that he
theatrical
gets
version.
Stabbed though.
Yeah.
He gets
I like
stabbed a
that.
lot,
It
by the way,
showed a mistrust. You know what I mean? Instead of just being told. One of the women he slept with tried to stab him in the back. You know what I mean?
One thing I want to point out in terms of sleeping with women is up until like this movie, and this is my one critique. I don't know how big of a critique, but just like I feel like they're like all of a sudden Riddick is horny. I don't think he really mentions sex at all in the other movies that I remember, and if he does, it was like one line.
Yeah, I mean, remember
And in this movie,
Pitch...
he's like, he horny, dude, because like he has a bedside of women. It's one thing if like they were all like, "Come on, like we're here for you," kind of thing. Like, no, it makes it seem like he's been in there quite some time.
Well, he's
like,
gotten civilized.
And then when we get to what's her name, Doll, like, he's just being a little too much with her at moments. Eventually,
It's true.
She seems to be interested in him anyway, so it works out. But like my one line, "Love those toenails," like that's a little weird and horny. All right.
Well, you remember in Pitch Black, he was, before they see him at the very beginning, he definitely like cuts a little bit of the main girl's hair.
Yeah, but I thought it was more of
creepily.
Like I'm an animal. I'm smelling you to like learn your scent kind of thing. It was a little creepy for sure, but like he's being like verbally like horny, and I don't know if I like that or not with this character because I'm getting like
I read the toenails line more of just he's just fucking with all of them.
Yeah.
Like again, she
He
didn't
also-
know she was being watched.
But then he also mentioned
stuff.
something about her boobs, and also that like, oh, in 30 seconds I'm gonna escape from these chains,
Yeah.
kill this guy, and then
You're gonna beg to have sex with me.
basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I get what you're saying, but it just I feel like since there was so much of it, and since the beginning that scene with him, a bunch of naked women in the bed, it just felt like a little extra horny. I don't know if they were all just
Sure.
horny on set. Hey, look, listen, we all get horny, but I don't know. I just feel like it felt a little bit out of nowhere, and it kind of gave me that like Kratos in the first 3 God of War games vibes, where it's just like, yeah, women just love him, and like but more verbally. But I don't know. That's
Gotcha.
the kind of vibe I got. Also, I think it doesn't
Gotcha.
help that like he killed a guy to get on the throne, just like God of War or whatever. But
Well,
I have to stop making God of War.
that movie's
references.
better than all of those games. So yeah, 3 different versions of that scene,
That's interesting.
and like there's quotes in different ones.
I definitely like the unrated one though. I think I like the idea of like you said, showing that he was actively or people were actively trying to kill him.
Because in the theatrical version, there is still because before that we're on the desert, and that's where he talked about how did I get soft and yada yada, right? You know, I need all that kind of stuff, and then we get this scene. Unrated version, he's silent and then he's talking in scene. In theatrical version, it's still more of that monologue, dreamy overtone type of stuff, where he talks about the assassination attempts, and he talks about how he didn't really agree with the oath every Lord Marshal has to swear to, and this and that, and then Vaco comes in, which is different, right?
Yeah.
But in any case, now we wake back up. But yeah, no, he's taken to the planet, and it's a trap. Scar Guy betrays him. And he's just left for dead. He falls off a cliff.
He was outplayed
presumably
there,
dead.
by the way.
Yeah, he was.
that
I'm
was the
surprised
first
he
time
didn't do anything.
First time he was outplayed because he got stuck behind that rock, and then the guy's like, "Oh, I'm actually just going to shoot this whole cliff apart instead of
Yeah,
like go
Riddick
to
just
him like he
sat
wants
there
me
and
to."
took it,
Yeah,
which is crazy. Yeah, usually Riddick would have just known that that's what he would have thought to do, and and like the other stuff. But again, like this movie's going to start to give us a little bit more of a humanization of him, which is not a whole lot, but it's enough to like not make me be like, he's just a dick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a little bit more. You can actually feel bad for him in some instances. But he's got to find the animal side again. Riddick domesticates a puppy, Jackal, catches food, and discovers a new section of the planet that's more livable. Potentially, there's grass.
this whole next like 10 minutes of just him like trying, basically like, what's the term where like he tries on the puppy first using that venom to like because he knows it paralyzes people.
That's not quite yet. But actually, that is actually the next thing. Riddick makes some sort of antidote thing and gives it to the puppy and then himself, effectively training his body to resist the poison.
Yeah.
But yeah, he sees those water scorpion things. It's gross.
Yeah. Those are cool, by the way. No, I really like this whole thing, this whole part. I mentioned it earlier, how like just him surviving was honestly like probably one of my favorite moments in all 3 of these movies. Just like him finding a way to survive. Him, like, because at first it was like, why did he inject the dog with it? Like, was he trying to cure it of something? Like, does it have a disease? Like, how does he know that? I was like confused at first, and I'm like, oh no, he's testing to see what the poison does, and then he's also uses it on himself to, like you said, get used to building up the immunity to it. Honestly, this whole part, you know what this was? This was Ark the movie.
Sure, I guess.
He makes bone like swords and shit. He's taming.
He crafts.
He's taming prehistoric animals and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
honestly, come on now. This is Ark. Maybe that's why he likes Ark so much. Maybe that's, who knows? It could have been connected in some way. It could have been inspired. When did Ark come out? 2015.
A little bit later, a couple years later.
Maybe not
years.
then, but maybe that's one of the reasons he's interested in it. Maybe he's like, I did that.
I do find it interesting because he sees like these water scorpions, and there's a couple of the extended stuff in the unrated version is like when he puts up the dead scorpion thing to warn off the other jackals not to come. It's a little bit longer there. Also, when he's like testing after he's poisoned himself and all that, and he's testing the water with the bone to try to get the thing to come out to fight it. That's a little bit longer. In the theatrical version, you don't actually get to see him test. He just does it, so to speak. The thing is just out and fighting him. I also thought like again, like he gets the puppy and you're like, oh, he's raising a little puppy. Maybe someone hunt with him or whatever. And then I see him do the poison thing. I'm like, oh wait, no. He did have a utility for him. This wasn't just for no reason. Yeah. This was to do this, right? A little bit of the old Riddick, but Riddick goes toe to toe with the scorpion and chops it in half. The puppy is loose, and it's just like, wow, more things in the water, crazy. And then another scorpion, which I think is the mama.
The boss comes.
Yeah.
I think it was definitely bigger, right?
It was definitely bigger. It was a female because it was pregnant.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, well, okay, this is... So he does this classic slide underneath, slash above.
Yeah.
Doesn't kill the thing. It opens up the womb, and like the fetus falls out, and then the thing eats it. And then that's where you actually see a bit of like, ugh, look on his face for I feel like the first time ever where he sees nature, animal side, the thing he always wants to be, and he's like a little repulsed by it. It's like,
See,
wow,
I thought
it's
that
just
was
eating
its
its
organs, and I'm like, that's badass. Like you can't kill me. I'll eat my own organs. I don't know how that works afterwards.
I thought it was it looked like a fetus to me, but I guess it could have been intestines as well.
Yeah.
In my version, it's a fetus.
The insides, it doesn't matter. Eating your insides is metal as fuck.
Auto-cannibalism.
Auto-cannibalism. Yeah, like...
Yeah.
Yeah. I understand why he was probably like, what the fuck? It's like, you sure want to still be an animal, dude? Willing to eat your own organs?
I do think it's kind of funny that in order to get to the Green Pass, he needed to cross through this one threshold door.
Couldn't go around.
Right. Couldn't climb up. Couldn't do anything. You need to go there. And of course, it was guarded.
The nursery rhyme of you can't go around the tree.
Exactly.
Can't go over the tree. You gotta dig under the tree.
Exactly. Traveling now, the puppy is an adult, and it finds a golf ball sort of looking thing.
Yeah. Was that a golf ball? It looked like
It's
a golf
what it
ball.
looked like.
That, like a dog chewed on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
Okay.
oh, there's a golf course.
That's his
around
first
here.
sign of civilization, so to speak. Something that isn't completely desolate. Abandonedness. Crossing a ridge, Riddick finds an abandoned station of some sort, and I had an inkling that it was maybe the one from the first movie, but it isn't. This is a different planet. But I thought that would have been interesting. They're like, oh, you're back at the place of the first movie. Because I thought I read some fun facts, some trivia things saying that Riddick took place, or at least he visits the planet of Pitch Black. But I think there was the person just being like, oh, it's both desert planets.
Yeah.
It's just fucking Tatooine again. A sun-scorched planet. Not necessarily desert, but sun-scorched. But I mean, Chronicles of Riddick also had the same thing. It's the third movie with this fucking... Go to a water place. Go find some Gungans.
Well, I
Jesus.
think the first one definitely was more desert. This one's definitely more like dry. Like there was still plant life here and there. There's water for at least. I feel like the desert one, remember there was like they didn't have any water nowhere nearby.
Right. Let's actually talk about that real quick. All three of these movies have a barren wasteland planet, and there's a different threat coming in each one. In Pitch Black, it was the pitch black nighttime, essentially, because it was always sunny. Eventually, the sun's going around, and then it's nighttime. That's when the danger's happening. In Chronicles of Riddick, remember, on the prison planet, it was when the sun comes up, everything is just melted, scorched. You're dead. And in this one, it's the rain. It's a storm that's coming. It's interesting.
Yeah,
Riddick,
so the next one will have to be like a
blizzard.
A blizzard, yeah.
Exactly. Or just a flood. Well, I guess that's kind of what the rain was like.
Yeah, but like the rain wasn't like... Because when the storm was originally coming, I thought... And I like that they kept you guessing so the whole time, because they showed around this part where he... after like he finds all the resources and whatnot, they look in the storm and he's like...
Oh, water.
Well, he was also like saying... Because remember he was like... basically saying like, oh, we're pretty much good, everything's fine. And then like... Then he sees a storm and he's like, "Oh fuck! Like something's happening." But we don't know what. But he knows something that we don't.
Right.
And we don't talk about it for like quite some time. Then that storm comes, and you're like, "Okay, you're still like, okay, is it going to be like a typhoon? Is it just going to be super windy?
Is it just thunder and lightning that might be dangerous?" No, it's just the scorpions needed moisture. Now they're free,
which I liked, which is kind of cool.
Which is exactly kind of what Pitch Black was like. The monsters needed the darkness to be free.
Yeah.
Their one night of terror.
It's kind of like repeating that, but I like that it's just a little bit different. And
yeah,
it goes back to, like I said, I think this movie is what Pitch Black should have been.
Sure. Even the monsters, they felt more grounded and realistic than just this movie's weird version of the necromorph. That's what Pitch Black was like. It was just, here's our giant crazy alien thing. Here's an animal.
Too. Yeah.
Here's like a realistic, so to speak, animal. Behaves in a way that has defined things about it that feels like it lives in an ecosystem. I love the fact that their tails actually seem to breathe.
I like that the tails
like the
are like what
scorpion
you
singer.
think is like the head at first too, and then
Yeah, because it looks like it has the indents, but it's like taking in air and expelling it.
Yeah.
That's what's kind of making the rattle thing too. I liked it, even though like they weren't much of a threat in the end of the day to Riddick specifically. You know?
Well, that's not true because at the end he's literally like they don't come and save him, he's dead,
Yeah, that's fair.
and he got
That's fair.
stabbed by one of them.
That's fair. I take that back. Okay, yep. Heading inside, Riddick finds a bunch of food. The dog pisses on some, and they found a way to humanize Riddick a bit by making him talk to the animal.
He had a lot of good dialogue with the dog.
Yeah,
I really liked.
Exactly.
Like I think at one point, I think this was earlier in the movie where he got out of the cage and he's like, "Oh, someone's adventurous" or whatever, you know.
Right.
I like that.
And like often a lot of the lines that Riddick says that isn't to someone to serve a purpose, that he says these things, are almost a way to, as we said, it's like he just knows everything. He's commenting in a way that just pierces through someone, or you know, it's always those kinds of like, you always know you shouldn't do that, Johns, type of stuff. Like here's like, it serves no purpose because the dog doesn't fucking know words. You know what I mean? This is just for your sake, because he doesn't talk to himself in any of these movies. He'll think, we'll hear like a monologue, a narration, but it's never to serve anything. You know, that's why he doesn't do it. Here, it's like just talking to the dog. Again, they're humanizing him a little bit. He doesn't want to eat the crab enchilada thing. The dog pisses on it. Very cute. But yeah, a storm is coming, so Riddick activates the emergency distress beacon at the station, and a bunch of mercs come down to kill Riddick and get the bounty, presumably. And then I wrote Dave Bautista, because he's there.
I always like, it's crazy. Like for me, like my introduction to him was Guardians of the Galaxy, right? I think a lot of people maybe didn't notice that he's in all this other stuff, and it's like he was in all like so much shit before Guardians of the Galaxy, and like for some reason I thought like he was in wrestling for much longer, and like Guardians of the Galaxy was like his first thing, and it really wasn't. Like he's in all this like sci-fi shit, like, and he always does like a really good job. Like I liked his character. He's kind of like Drax in this movie, like having like the like I'm kind of dumb one-liners a little bit.
I don't know. I would say he kind of felt more like The Rock in Fast 5, just not in charge.
Well, I'm saying like some of his comments, like, or maybe not Drax, like dumb, but more like he's playing that like meathead kind of character.
I like his beard.
Yeah, and he had like the mohawk kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
Like my favorite scene with him in this movie was when like they ask like, "Oh, is that the dog you saw?" He's like, "Oh, it can't be. I killed it." And like obviously it's the second time where he won't admit that he missed the shot, and then he's like, "Okay, it could be. it might be." And I thought that was funny.
Yeah. They set up shop, get all their guns, and send the young pastor-looking kid to free their slave/prisoner to meet the weight limit for their ship because they're getting larger fish to fry. They free the slave prisoner, but then they shoot her in the back, which is fucked. She was also clearly raped by the head guy. She is played by Carrie Hilson. She initially auditioned for the role of Doll and didn't get it, but they decided to make this role for her. It was a little thing. So that was kind of cool. Yeah.
And they killed
I
her.
thought it was kind of fucked.
I thought she was going to team up with Riddick in some way.
Yeah. I paused and to write a couple notes or whatever, because I've been writing less like detailed notes and more, you know, so I'm pausing less often. And the Amazon, like, here are all the people in this certain scene, and she didn't have a name. She was just like prisoner or something. I'm like, oh, probably not important then.
Oh, no.
But I also thought it was interesting too, for John's, it just said boss in like the subtitles and stuff. It's like even then, like you wouldn't know it was John's, so to speak. Interesting. The head merc here is named Santana, and he lays it out why they're here. Out loud, It wasn't all that effective of a speech. I felt like it kind of helped with the characterization a little bit of like, he's kind of got it, but like, no.
Yeah,
so to speak.
or like, yeah, like this group thinks they're serious, but they're kind of just a joke.
Opportunistic.
And especially with this guy leading the way.
Yeah, for sure. Another ship lands, and it's another group of mercs. They set up shop, pull a battery from their ship, and lock it in a locker that has a mine for its lock, which I think is dope. It's essentially a claymore for a lock.
Yeah, I was confused at first what this was, especially later on in the film when they're trying to unlock it. I was just confused.
Oh, you didn't know? Because if you look at it, it was talking about like danger explodes outwards. It's exactly what's written on it.
I just didn't know why they were putting it in there and all that.
Oh, I like the giant camera arm thing.
Oh, the like
called Cyclops.
Kind of
yeah, it's just kind of weird. It has like weird sounds it makes. So that was kind of cool. We get some bickering back and forth between the two groups. They don't really like each other. Even though this is like this is a place mercs can stop at. Like that the station is just for that. It's not actually like a station for any scientific research or anything like that. It's just, here's like a gas station. Here's just a pit stop.
Yeah.
On your way from your bounties and shit. I don't know. But even then it's like, no, we got here first. And like, well, it doesn't mean we can't be here too. And I like that John says, well then fine. I'll only help you when you ask me, which obviously is implied like this will bite you in the ass. Because when your folks die, I won't come until you ask me.
He also hints that like this guy knows about Riddick more than others.
He's here for a reason. The dog comes in at night to mess with them in their giant camera arm thing, steals a sensor, and then Riddick is just banging on it to make the arm go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was creepy as fuck. Just seeing it move and just hearing the sounds. Ugh. The mercs learn about traps and then set off too. It's just fucked.
I like how he had one right next to the other one. Like that's just somehow if you dodge that one, like there was another one right there. Is totally fucked.
And that second one just cuts his head off.
Pretty
brutal.
Like
he crawls into it, and like John's. Like when he hears about that from Santana of all people, like, hey, hold on a second. Johns is like, wait, no, because he's the other guy stepped on a plate because like upper body protection, and then he steps on the thing, and then he crawls into the other one. It's like fuck. Riddick starts picking them off one by one. He gets 3 of them total. 2 are clearly dead, and the other one's missing. Probably dead.
Which is what the one guy says. He's like, no, I wouldn't count on it.
Yeah, like this, they're dead. I also like too that it's around this time where it's like we get a callback to or a reference to an earlier joke when one guy's like, "There's 11 of us here, and it's just one guy." Really, should have been just a 4, maybe 5-man team thing, and then now they're getting picked off one by one. It's like, really, 11's overkill. We have like 7 now. Both merc groups now come into an understanding, and the second group, led by Johns, begins their plan in the morning. This is where he kicks the door open and says, I need this and I need that, and we're doing this and this is happening, and over here this looks like a canine. Wounded animals always go to known land, known ground. Type of stuff is where we get boom, boom, boom. He asked for my help. We're doing it now. They snipe a tracker on the dog and motorcycle over to a cave. They get a jump scare because they see the 3rd missing body, and they shoot at it thinking it's Riddick. And I love this. I think it's Moss that says it, the black guy. He just says, just drop some mud right there when the jump scare happened, when the dog ran past. I'm pretty sure he meant he shit his pants.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even pick that up. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to say that from now on. Just drop some mud.
And then they're talking and they're like, oh, this is clearly just a distraction. And then that's when they realize, oh, this is when Riddick's probably attacking their base. Now that camera's gone, too, especially.
Exactly. But really, Riddick is just taking his time. He sneaks on Doll, all creepy-like.
Once again, horny Riddick.
Clean it up.
Horny Riddick.
Yep. He steals her makeup mirror thing. Did
you know she's in Mandalorian, by the way?
Is she?
She's the one woman Mandalorian in the second season that like saves him in that ship planet.
Oh, she is also.
I kept recognizing her, and I'm like, "Where is she from?" So I looked it up, and I'm like, "Oh,
okay.
Mandalorian." Yeah,
she is also supposedly from. She plays the live action version of the Mandalorian character from Star Wars Rebels, which was the second animated show.
So that's probably
she's
the same
supposed to
character,
be. Yeah, or no, I never watched those cartoons, but I've had people explain it to me. She isn't that character, but that character has spoken to her many times, type of thing. Gotcha. So this is a live, whatever. But yeah, you are right, because I'm like, I've seen her somewhere, right? I didn't like her character, though, in Mandalorian. I thought she was like a self-righteous asshole that felt like she deserved something. That clearly isn't necessarily something that is. Probably, I don't know. She's from the cartoons I didn't watch. And I never will watch them. Never. They're bringing back Hayden Christensen.
Hell yeah.
That's how much Episode 9 ruined things, that they're like, we need to go back to the well of things that work.
Bring back Jar Jar, cowards.
Fucking just do it. Just fucking do it. Riddick sits on top of a ship while the other crew members search for tools. I thought that was funny.
He's
kind of reminiscent
eating
of
like peanuts or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Reminds me of Pitch Black, when they're all like looking for him, all being serious, and he's just sitting there watching them all, kind of just laughing to himself a bit at like how the efforts and the stupidity, everything's going out exactly as he predicted, type of stuff.
This is classic Riddick right here.
Yeah. Johns and company return to the base, and Santana tries to get frisky with Dahl. And then it's not entirely implied whether or not he succeeded, or if they actually beat the shit out of him, or what.
No, she says that when they're trying to unlock the thing, that she says, "Oh, I had to beat him up again." And you can see that his like lip is busted up, or his nose is busted up, and her lip was like busted too. So clearly they fought or something. Because she was beating him.
That's what I hope that was.
Punched him like 5 times in this film.
Yeah. He eventually gets a couple on her as well. Some time must have passed, and the Mercs now think that Riddick got into their locker and swapped the code. There's some back and forth of like, what is he trying to trade? Okay, so he must have gotten the power cells out of there, changed the code, and he's now offering a trade for something. If you open it, blah, 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 but really all it is that Riddick just wrote that on there and either just wants to see the code, or just, because these morons just unlock it and leave it open. Have them leave it open.
Yeah.
Which I thought was crazy.
Or it blows up and it kills all of them.
Which, again, I'm sure the lock is broken then, if it explodes, like a claymore.
Yeah.
That's all he is. He just sits there and watches. I thought this was a great scene, though. I thought this was a fantastic scene.
I was a little confused of like why they were trying to open it out, and then I got like that. I was like, oh, is this Riddick fucking with them?
Yeah.
Speaking of time passing, I forgot to mention real quick. He must have been on this planet for quite some time, because that dog grew up quick.
Yeah.
Like, I'm guessing like maybe a year.
I don't know about that. Maybe. I don't know.
The dog grew to full size, unless I don't know, they just never explained it. Maybe time works differently there, but I'm fine with that. It was just, I like how they're like, all of a sudden the dog was big, and I'm like, oh, it's been a while. And it seems like he had his shit together. Honestly, I don't know why he wanted to leave. He seemed to have gotten his shit together. Just vibing.
Some maybe nicer food. At the same time, he's an animal. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, Riddick probably best suited for just farm life.
I was thinking that like he needs to be on a commune somewhere. Like, he'd probably be perfect for that. He's a survivor.
Just give him some shit. Give him some land, something to hunt. Yeah. Also, so the code was the same. I loved the scene. It's just the tensity and the back and forth. I feel like the acting was on point here. But the code was the same. Riddick watched them open it. Also, they left the locker open, which is...
Yeah. So he did all that for...
nothing.
Yeah.
Whatever. I even like, just the like, well, luck says that the first three numbers could still be the same. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the same code. Okay, but 4, 5. Oh, I loved it, and everyone like backs up slowly. I like Dave Bautista when he's asked or just gives his opinion rather on whether the code is the same or not. He's like, I trust you, and he just backs up a little bit still, like just a little bit. You know what I mean? I thought it was great, and I like that like. No one offers to open it. They just like, nope, it's on you. You're the boss. You're in charge right now.
That's what I'm saying. This guy's such
in
like
here.
basically a fraud, like from the very beginning, where he can't do a good speech. He he's all talk really. And even when he does talk, he's like, you can tell that his confidence is in there. So he did a great job acting that character.
Yeah, I will say though, he's not necessarily a pussy though, because he still did it.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just think
I would never. I would be like,
spot.
you know what? I will leave. I don't care what you all think. So at least he was a little bit more than that. Yeah. Riddick gets the power nodes, and the Mercs tell us that they can't just combine theirs and leave. Before I do like that he holds up Moss though to get the power nodes, and he's just like, "Are you scared of me?" He's like, "Yes." Are they? I think he says like most of them or some of them or something like that. He doesn't kill him. He just lets him live. Just crazy. But about these power nodes, because I was thinking this in the movie. I'm like, there's going to be something where like it takes time, but they can rewire a node to just work in the other ship and this and that. Like it's going to be a plot point. Clearly, it's going to be something that they're going to be able to do. And here they just say, no, you can't. You just can't.
Can't.
Like, cool. Yeah, my lightning cable to charge my iPhone won't work on my keyboard.
It's true.
Or something. It just doesn't.
Just can't.
Can't plug it into my PS5 controller. It just doesn't work. Just can't. But what if I could explain it all to you, but you just can't. Whatever.
I wish that's how like mechanics would, I feel like when you bring your car, you're like, oh, like, because I don't know. I'm like, why does that work? And they try to explain it. I'm like, you know what? Just say we can't. You can't put my
It'll be
tire.
$500, but we can't. We looked at your car. Yeah. Riddick, who must have buried the node somewhere, shows up to talk. Riddick tells them to leave a ship for him, and they can all go. But Santana pulls a gun, and then the dog attacks him. Riddick is tranked several times by Dahl as a sniper. The dog is killed. John knocks them
bullshit,
all
by the
out.
way. I can't believe they did it like that. Not just like it didn't like. I mean, it died kind of saving him, but like they basically executed him, like 4 shots in the head or whatever it was. Just
Yeah.
I thought Riddick was gonna like. By the way, we didn't get any of Riddick's like supernatural
Remorse?
power.
Oh.
Like that he has in the second one, where he goes like rage mode or whatever, and like.
Yeah.
We never
Remember,
get that.
too, that was only in the director's cut, too. Remember?
Oh, that's right. So maybe they didn't have it in this because they're like.
What if people didn't see that? Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Because I was waiting for that
Again.
to happen. I was like, oh, he's going to do it here. But you're right, director's cut, so I guess not.
There's another giant difference in the director's cut in this film that we will get to towards the end of the movie. And then I'm like, wow, really? But we'll get there. But yeah, no, I also, again, the dog dies, but it feels like it's been forever since we've seen the dog, since we got so many scenes of all the mercs, and Riddick has taken a huge backseat now, that it's almost like, oh yeah, the dog. Oh, yeah, the dog's dead now. So this felt,
That's one thing I don't like is that I wish they kept showing Riddick's perspective more.
Yeah,
Just a little bit more.
It is named literally after him, but
yeah.
Again, it's kind of like Pitch Black. He's the horror monster. You know what I mean? So to speak, for this film. So they need to show the victims. Chained up, Riddick wakes and is interrogated by Johns about his son. I thought the whole time, up until it was really spelled out to me, that this Johns was the son of the other Johns, simply because Pitch Black was like 2 decades ago. And I thought that was literally how the time worked. Turns out, no. Also, I at first thought, oh, they just recasted Johns, and I'm like, wait a second, I
That
thought
too.
he
I'm
died.
like, when he said Johns, I'm like, oh, didn't we kill him in that game?
Didn't he die? No, we didn't kill him in the games.
I keep
They had to keep him alive constantly because he dies. He's in Pitch Black. and those games were prequel to Pitch Black.
That's right.
So they needed to.
I'm getting confused. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, I thought he died. I thought Riddick literally left.
I thought he died in the games because we did kill him in the games, or we tried.
We did something. Yeah, something. Whatever. Johns. You know you can't do that, Johns.
Come on,
Johns. His favorite person was Johns. But yeah, this Johns just wants to know what happened to his son. That's it. It's not even like a revenge thing. He just wants to know. He wants closure on his son. That's it. That's all he wants.
He never does really like give it to him.
He kind of,
but
he gives him stuff that he might not want to believe, but still just trust Riddick because Riddick has no reason to lie anyway.
But like,
that's
he
the
fucks
one
them the
thing.
entire time about it. Like he slowly gives out information instead
Yeah.
of,
But the one thing about the character of Riddick that I do kind of appreciate that they've still managed to maintain is that he's not really a liar. He says what will happen, or at least what he intends to do. And he doesn't really lie to people. He just says it as it is, cryptically, withholdingly, sure. But he's not a liar. So when he tells Johns, your kid was a junkie, he was on morphine, is this and that, he tried to kill a kid. The only thing he did lie about, because I had to look this up, he actually technically was responsible for killing Johns. He, mortally wounds Johns and lets the monsters kill him.
Yeah.
So, he killed Johns, but technically not. Time is cut short, and the rain comes, and the scorpions with it, and I thought this was actually kind of cool. I'm like, oh yeah, those things from the beginning of the movie, it's actually tying it in. Instead of feeling like two different movies, so to speak.
Our issue with Pitch Black, where it felt too drastic of a change, and I'm like, okay, it's coming back full circle.
Yeah. It at least is connected a little bit more. Riddick tells Johns his deal. They get the nodes and leave. Together, separate ships, but they will get the nodes. And Johns goes to unlock Riddick. Santana tries to stop him and is killed dramatically by Riddick.
This is
This is where you said he says out, here's the thing. First 5 seconds after these chains come off, I'm going to kill Santana with his sword. And he also says, I'm going to go balls deep in the woman and she's going to beg for it. But
yeah,
I think I didn't like that either.
At least
especially at the end where I'm not even sure if
at the end she's like, I guess, into him or whatever. So I'm like, at least it doesn't.
I couldn't tell if she was just humoring him.
Sounding, I don't know. I don't know if it was humoring or not, but still, it made it less weird at the end. I guess, like in the moment, I'm
still
just
not entirely sure if it happened in the end at all. Anyway, I couldn't tell if she was just humoring him by saying that because she's saving his life at that moment.
Yeah,
or what? Because I don't know what she would have seen.
At least that felt better in the end.
Sure.
But then, like, okay, like at least whatever. But like it just, I'm like, come on, don't make Riddick rapey, please.
He doesn't need to be. He has enough bad shit about him too. But yeah, he fucking like chops Santana's head in half by kicking the knife.
I was gonna say this is one of the best, I think, kill scenes I've seen in like all movies. Like that's definitely up there for me. Like
in all movies.
Yeah, I've seen a lot. Like I've seen a lot of horror movies, slasher movies, where people die in crazy ways. Like just the way he because like the whole time it's been hyping up. Like he's gonna put He originally said I'm gonna put Vin's head in a box, right? And then he gets the opportunity. He told him, no, I'm gonna put your head in that box because you're box head or whatever. And he does. And like, and the way they shot it was like, okay, he hit the sword up. I'm like, okay. And then he's going to try I thought he was going to snap his neck or something, or like with his legs or something like that. And he kicks him, hits the thing, and it perfectly like shakes.
He catches the
sword, and he catches it with his foot, and then throws it. I'm like, cool. And then I thought he was going to be impaled. It's like, no. His head slides off, and like as that's happening, it shows him kicking the box. I'm like, no fucking way. I'm like, it just was so well shot and comedic at the same time, and like you're also like, fuck that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and like, I don't know. I just think it's like one of my favorite kills I've seen in like a movie because it's just the way it was shot and the way like he like said it, and it wasn't like,
and it was kind of just bam, 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 bam.
And the one guy's like, holy shit. It's like, like even chained up, this dude is dangerous.
Yeah.
I like too scene. I just really loved it.
I like too that the head wasn't even decapitated; it was like literally cut in half.
Yeah,
like through like the nose.
Yeah, he saw his teeth in his tongue.
Ugh,
Honestly, it was like Mortal
gross.
Kombat, like of like ridiculousness, and I think that's why I liked it so much. It was just
Oh my
ridiculous in the sense that like throwing the sword up and all that, and then he cuts it, and then it lands right in that box. If there's ever
Right.
a Riddick in a Mortal Kombat, that needs to be one of the fatalities. It just needs to be somehow.
God. Sure. They get to one of the ships and depart on motorcycles where Riddick hid the nodes. Dave Bautista knocks Johns off his motorcycle, but Riddick finds him. Oh, and at one point Riddick was like, and Johns is gonna fold just like his son did. And I guess that's supposed to be here. But like it never actually really did happen.
Well, that's what he
because-
says later. He's like, "Oh, keep being tough," basically.
Yeah,
like,
keep,
"Oh, you
keep
did,
that
you
spine.
weren't." Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I like how Bautista's character did that, and then like they never really talked about it again, though.
Because it was kind of an accident, but it was intentional.
Yeah, but he never was like, "Oh, sorry," or like, "Oh," he didn't try to go back and save him. He just kept going. But then he was
Yeah.
there at the end, anyways, when they're digging the grave or whatever it was, or digging up the shit to
The
get
power nodes.
power
At the
nodes.
dig site, Riddick tells Johns about how his son wasn't the man he remembered, and Dave Bautista attacks them. Is killed. The other motorcycle is like destroyed in the process. And the third one apparently had the pin removed. That's it.
Classic.
Riddick kills them, but the motorcycles are broken, so they'll have to hoof it back to the base. Which, of course, I was expecting the whole time. Just like Pitch Black, they just had to horrifyingly make their way like a mile or 2 or 5, just surrounded by enemies.
Yeah.
Which I think is like the strength of that movie, and a bit of that comes through here.
But at least that Riddick was the one that was left behind until the end.
Yeah.
But like, no, it was like once I saw that he was stabbed, I'm like, wait, what? And then like when they're all getting on the ship, I'm like, are they gonna like come back and save him? Like that's gonna be like that's different than the first movie where he's the one that has the change of heart and goes and saves the woman and the kid or whatever. And
No, the woman dies. He saves
the kid.
The Muslim guy, the Muslim like religious like officiator or whatever his role was.
He's
and
on
the
that
little
one planet
kid.
that we see in Chronicles of Riddick. But but that happens. He gets stabbed by one of the scorpions, and I'm like, oh shit! I actually thought for a half second, I'm like, does he die here? And like that's how like they changed it, like how he dies to save him. I don't know, but no.
Yeah, which is weird. Yeah, Riddick is wounded. Johns takes the nodes and leaves him. At first, it looks like he's going to fireman carry Riddick, and then he just flips him over, takes the node, and leaves. Riddick climbs to the top of a cliff, which I thought was pretty epic. It's a very classic, just they're all climbing up to get him, and he's just climbing up and up. Eventually, he's going to have less ground, and that's it. But he's doing it anyway. The Johns ship bails him out, and they all leave together.
Yeah, Doll comes and straps on.
Straddles him just like Riddick said she would.
Yeah, and also, so my confusion of like, I'm glad that he was saved, right? And I think it's cool that like he was the one that needed saving this time. My only thing with it is, why? Like, who in that ship was like, no, we need to save him? Because like, Johns was the one that flipped him over, and you're thinking, oh, he's gonna carry him. And he's like, no, I'm just getting that node. Why didn't he just grab him there? You know, like, so I feel like someone in that thing, I think there needed to be one more scene where someone's like, we need to go back.
I think Johns had the I'll go back. Maybe he was always going to go back and was like, I'll be faster with the nodes. I need the guarantee
I just
of
wish
at least
maybe something
people
needed to
can
be executed
leave.
differently, because it just felt
Yeah.
like, and I know like later on,
It was meant to be like a surprise, right?
Yeah, but like at the end there, they had that conversation, and I get like John's whole thing was he just wanted to know what happened to his father, you know. And I guess
he
maybe
got that information.
maybe that's why he saved him. But I just wish there was something, even maybe afterwards, where he mentions like, "You're welcome, I saved you," you know. And then like maybe Riddick could have said like, "Well, you know, won't say thank you" or something like that. I feel like they could have just added something to make me like the surprise was cool still. I'm just wondering why. 'Cause I feel like it kind of felt like there was no reason for them to.
They wanted that scene of him climbing the cliff. They just wanted that. It feels like,
Yeah.
you know. But in the ship The ship's gunfire hitting the cliff and all that from Riddick's perspective did kind of feel like a sci-fi original movie type of
look good,
effects. But yeah, no, these babes bailed. They all leave together. They split off with Riddick in his own ship, and he's headed back to the Necromongers. John's is like, you know what, don't tell me. I don't want to know where you're going. So maybe we'll never see those characters again. Who knows? So now, here is our final theatrical versus unrated cut. The whole fucking ending. I have no idea how the theatrical version, I think it might just end with him flying off and that's it. The unrated version has, after killing the dude that betrayed him, the guy with the scars, Riddick, like a classic abuser, tells a woman, never lie to me and he'll never hurt you. That was right first thought. I'm like, wow, that's a domestic violence type of talk. She then tells him that Vaco has essentially transcended. Riddick stares out a window into like a portal that goes down, and we roll credits in silence. That whole ending there, unrated director's cut. The thing that actually is sequel teasing, unrated director's cut. The resolution to the stuff at the beginning, unrated. Again, like Chronicles of Riddick, its director's cut stuff was like lore about him having the powers and his rage mode, like you said, and all that stuff. You take that away, you don't know anything about that. This movie, you take away the director's cut, you don't know that he went back. You don't know that that's where he's going next, right?
Maybe
weird.
So it's gonna be curious once this fourth one comes.
They're gonna need another fucking animated bridge thing just to tell us what we already know.
Yeah, it really. So the thing with unrated, I always wonder is like, how do directors view that? How does Vin view that? Is that like this is the definitive version? Because that was the case for both of them. Why all of a sudden he just doesn't have that rage mode? Are you going to talk about that? You know, like I feel like now, like if the unrated one for this one, or even the theatrical one, just negates what the unrated one was in the second one of like his powers, his backstory. So I'm just curious now with this fourth one, like how that's going to go. Is it going to even talk about this ending at all?
Right. We are caught up on Riddick now completely. I'm not entirely sure if this is a prequel or if this is just he goes to the planet. That's why it's called that. That's where he wanted to go in this one. He finally gets to make it. Yeah, there's like there's anything about his race in here besides the fact that they're all dead except for him, potentially.
Yeah, and like I'm trying to imagine too people who've seen this movie without seeing the other ones, and if like I don't know if this is a good standalone movie. There's moments where it could be, but like the whole like why does he want to go to Furia? No one knows what that is. They never explain it because, like you said, they don't talk about his race of people being wiped out and he being the last one. You know, it's just interesting. Yeah, that if that ending's gone, it just makes me think like, is that even going to be
okay? It's done
in the fourth one at all?
Right.
What is the cut that like the one that we should pay attention to? Should it be all the theatrical cuts or should it be these unrated cuts? Because I think it shouldn't be, or should it be one of them? You should watch the unrated one and then one not. You know. Now that someone who like he's seen all the movies, like I kind of care of like what one is the definitive one. Vin, tell me.
Right, exactly. We need to get Vin Diesel on the show. We need to get David Toohey on the show.
I would love to even get one actor, even if they only worked with Vin for like one scene. I would love to just get them on and be like, hey, let's
get this actor on. We're not going to ask you any questions about yourself. Tell us about Vin Diesel and what it's like to work with greatness. Imagine how just insulted that person.
I'm joking, but no, I mean I would love to get someone like that on.
Yeah. But that is the film. I do want to just point out one more Riddick fact. The screenplay for this originally had the subtitle of Dead Man Stalking. So I think it's cool. It was called The Chronicles of Riddick, Dead Man Stalking.
I like just Riddick, though.
Yeah. It makes it feel more standalone.
Furia. Just call it Furia.
That's what it was originally called. Now it's Riddick 4 Furia.
Riddick 4 Furia? 4 Furia? Like
as in the number 4.
4? Okay.
No. Riddick number 4, Furya. And that's important because when Vin Diesel was originally talking about this on Facebook and back in 2014, 2015, he was spelling Furia Furia.
What's Facebook? I never heard of that. Do you mean Meta?
Fuck off. Oh, God. The day we're recording this is the day that fucking shit happened. Oh, my God.
Metaverse.
But yes, that is the Chronicles of Riddick. I almost, no, that's not the Chronicles of Riddick. That's just Riddick.
Yeah,
That's
bro,
it.
that is Riddick.
He done.
That's it.
Let's talk about, so at the end of every episode, we rank the things we talked about in 2 A's. We have our movie ranking, and we have our Vin Diesel performance ranking. We have 2 things to discuss. Why don't we start with Riddick Blindsided?
By the way, for this, can we do both of them for each ranking instead of doing, or do you want to do Blindside movie ranking and then Blindside Vin ranking, or do you want to do like both of them for one?
Why don't we do the movie ranking stuff first, and then the Vin Diesel performance?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So overall, Blindsided. I will say, especially since I had already seen Riddick first, I guess to be fair, I didn't actually watch this chronologically. I will say I found it very boring because it was essentially what I'd already seen with a little bit of changes. I don't necessarily think that it was all that visually interesting. Again, it was supposed to be a stop motion comic thing, but again, it was really just a storyboard that's colorized and like with zoom effects and panning and stuff. This very much felt like just promotional material, but it was presented as its own standalone thing. It has a poster, Devin. The 6-minute thing has a poster. I don't find it all that interesting on its own, unless Riddick did not include that scene. If Riddick was only on the planet, this would have a much higher importance.
Yeah.
But you literally do not need to watch
And
this.
I think that they probably saw that too, that like, hey, not everyone's going to see this.
Yeah. And that's why there's like 2 different versions of this fucking scene in the movie itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird. I don't know. What do you think about Riddick Blindsided?
Same thoughts. I mean,
Exact verbatim.
unmemorable.
My voice literally in your head.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like I watched it first, and even I'm like, oh, this is from, oh, well, I like the movie better.
Yeah, it is what it is.
I
Now,
appreciate
Riddick,
though that Vin wants to like try different ways of promoting things.
Yeah.
We've seen a animated short of this. We've seen a Los Bandoleros short for Fast and
Yeah.
Furious. I appreciate
both of
that
those are
he's-
better than this.
This shows that he's passionate about these projects.
Yeah. And I mean, like, again, it just felt like it was an opportunistic, like, hey, we can make something out of the storyboarded scene we have. Why don't we do it? Why don't we package it up as its own little thing?
Like I don't think you see that. Like, it's something unique. Whether or not it was good is up to you to decide. But like, at least everyone should agree on that it's unique. Like, to do something like that, because we don't really see that anymore.
Yeah. Why don't we talk about Riddick first, and then we'll rank them both together
Yeah.
on the movie rankings list. So for Riddick, I feel like, again, we've caught up on the Riddick stuff. I think this is obviously the best Riddick thing.
By far.
Easily. I feel like I like the character a lot more. He's humanized a little bit. He's able to lose. There's a dog in it. Even just the other characters, a lot done better. I did like John's in the original movie, because he had just fucking assholeness about him. Cocky assholeness that kind of is going his way until it doesn't, right? But he kind of push and pull. But other than that, for the rest of the cast, really. It's really, again,
I'm more fun
they
with
saw
these
Vin Diesel and they
characters,
saw
though,
yes.
than any other side characters in these 3 movies.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said not cared, but rather found these characters at least humorous or fun compared to the other characters. Especially in like Pitch Black, where I was like, I don't care.
I barely remember anyone in the Chronicles.
I remember just a kid dying in a well.
Aw.
But no, like in like at moments, like I said, I wish there was more Riddick scenes in this movie. At least that these other characters are at least fun enough to where I'm like, okay, I don't hate this. I don't want to just bring me back Riddick. At least like it worked out in the end.
Yeah,
it didn't like, because like I said, when it first came, like when it started just focusing on them, I still at moments they could have panned more to Riddick to see what he was doing, but I get like they're trying to make him like the
mysterious in the shadows.
It just for a movie that started off with 30 minutes almost of just him, you'd think that they would pull to him more. So that's my one critique of it.
Yeah.
But like I said, I didn't hate these characters, so it wasn't a huge issue with me.
I agree with that. I think this movie is very well made, especially compared to Pitch Black and the Chronicles of Riddick.
Budget.
Yes,
Considering the budget.
I mean, yeah, that is right. I mean, this is technically an indie film, so to speak.
Yeah.
The giant ass budget. You know what I mean? And like, just the way like all the camera work and stuff that they've done, a lot of just the way the scenes are all put together, the overall structure of the movie
that look so immature compared to this. So it just shows that I think of everyone who worked on this' capabilities and
for sure
with the budget that they had.
For sure. Yeah, I feel like just even structure-wise, this movie works. It makes sense. Riddick's plan doesn't feel like it's a bunch of jumbled up random things like the other two movies could appear to be. Here it feels like, no, he needs to kill a few, get a few away, so he can set up a thing, learn a bit about them, trick them, get the thing he actually wants, bury it to make a deal, have the deal be executed. Like it all
and the deal
makes
doesn't
sense.
really work out, and that's the cool.
But then we get
twist,
the
finally.
chaos and exactly right, exactly. Whereas there's like Pitch Black, kind of looking at him like it feels like it's just a bunch of just him fucking around type of stuff. If you're not really paying attention, here it kind of flows. I like, honestly, I really like this movie. I think it's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's like amazing, but
it's
like
definitely one of the better movies we've watched
for sure.
Definitely, like we said, definitely the best Riddick movie. Like at least this gets me actually hype for a possible Riddick 4, because like the first two, I'm just like, and then like we named our show the Chronicles of Diesel.
Just gonna say that, right?
You know, more just because we wanted to do a unique name and base it off of something that wasn't just Fast and Furious, which is what he's known for the most. And I'm so glad it kind of has worked out. Like, because I was worried that like, oh, we're gonna really hate all the Chronicles of Riddick stuff. You know, not hate, but like just don't care for it, and like
be a little
that's
milk
our
toast
name.
about it.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'm on board now. You know,
exactly. So let's rank the stuff. Let me tell you what our rankings are currently for everything we've done. Number 1, Saving Private Ryan. Number 2, Fast 5. Number 3, Fast and Furious 6. Number 4, Triple X. Number 5, The Fast and the Furious. Number 6, The Iron Giant. Number 7, Awakenings. Number 8, Fast and Furious. Number 9, A Man Apart. 10, Find Me Guilty. 11, Boiler Room. 12, The Chronicles of Riddick. 13, Pitch Black. 14, The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. 15, Knockaround Guys. 16, Wheelman. 17, The Pacifier. 18, Babylon AD. 19, Los Bandoleros. 20, The Chronicles of Riddick, Assault on Dark Athena. 21, The Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay. 22, Multifacial. 23, The Chronicles of Riddick, Dark Fury. And 24, Strays. I'm just going to throw this out there right now, real quick, before we talk about Riddick itself. I think Blindsided is 25.
below Strays.
Below Strays.
Yeah.
Okay,
Strays
agreed.
at least has like more substance.
Stuff. There's exactly, and it's definitely Dark Fury. It's definitely better than Blindsided. Dark Fury has its own plot. Like Blindsided is a scene.
Yeah,
it's a
like,
scene.
even if it was like the greatest animation we've ever seen, probably
it's a scene.
It's a scene. We probably can't.
Right.
I still probably wouldn't be able to put it.
It literally requires context. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's meant to bridge a gap, but is then redundant because the gap is bridged in the movie anyway with the same shit but better.
Yeah.
Either version is more interesting than this. So, yeah, 25. It's nothing gets shifted around. Thankfully, it's just at the bottom.
Makes it easy. And it makes it easier for me to remember too.
Exactly. Riddick itself, definitely above 12 because that's where the Chronicles.
It's funny
of Riddick
we were
is.
just saying how like the Chronicles of Riddick were kind of just about, and it's like in our top 15.
Yeah,
both of them. But it's because like I think we just didn't like a lot of the other stuff.
I mean, right. If I can just throw it somewhere,
I'm honestly, if I can help, I want to put it At 11 to start.
At 11. Oh, to start.
To start.
So literally right above Chronicles of Riddick.
Yeah, or above Boiler Room.
Or above Boiler Room. Okay.
To start.
I mean, I had more fun watching this movie than I did watching Find Me Guilty. Or A Man Apart. Easily. More than A Man Apart.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
I liked Find Me Guilty. This is such a goofy movie. Like to see like this is a change of pace from all the other shit we saw. But I can understand it's so tough to compare like a science fiction movie to a drama based on a true story movie.
yeah.
It's just
And
so
I just look at this overall package of what this movie is, and I'm like, it's just I don't know, it's just like fun.
yeah.
And it's done well enough on the budget that it is. Not that should really factor in.
Yeah.
But when we talk about his short stuff, we talk about it's all him, it's all this, it's all that. And that kind of gives it more, sway, so to speak, even though they are at the bottom of the thing anyway.
Yeah.
Honestly, the more I look at it, the more it's inching up and up and up. I feel like it's at least number 6 now, in my opinion.
Above Awakening.
Iron Giant was very good.
I don't want to put it above Iron Giant. I think Iron Giant's just too original and like just well done to like for me to put
And
it over there.
it's a cute and like just good story. Yeah, it's again. I think the issue is it's been
You're
over a
putting
year
it
since
above
we
Fast
saw these
and
movies.
Furious? You're putting all
That's the 4th one.
Oh, it's the 4th one. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I always get confused.
I have it at least below the Fast and Furious, if not below Iron Giant. I like this movie. I'll say this as a just fun, dumb, but taking itself seriously, and it's okay to take it seriously because it's fun to take it seriously. That's like the whole thing about it. Starring Vin Diesel. I like this movie more than Fast and Furious, aka Fast and Furious 4. I actually do think it's a better film.
Yeah. Fast and
Than that.
Furious is kind of one of the ones too. So
Yeah.
okay, I can agree on that. I like A Man Apart.
And then
though, but
Awakenings.
it's so tough, dude, because that was the first
It's such
thing
a different film.
we also saw it 2 years
In-
ago.
Yeah. When was that? April of 2020.
It was our first episode.
Yeah. April of 2020.
Like I was in a different mindset, bro. I don't even know.
We got to do a rewatch. No, I'm kidding. I don't know.
I'd put it above Awakenings because I think I'd probably watch this movie before Awakenings again. Awakenings is too fucking sad. That's a critique.
Yeah.
Too sad.
You know what? I agree. Riddick is now our new number 7. So the top 10, I'll just read it off for you one more time. Goes number 1, Saving Private Ryan. Number 2, Fast 5. 3, Fast and Furious 6. 4, Triple X. 5, The Fast and the Furious. 6, The Iron Giant. 7, Riddick. 8, Awakenings. 9, Fast and Furious. And 10, A Man Apart.
Wow,
That is our
that's crazy.
official.
We got top 10 out of this episode. It's been a minute, huh?
Yeah.
No, actually, no. Fast 5 was top 10 and 6.
And Fast 6.
Okay, so we've been on a good roll. We got
Yeah.
some top 10 not Vin films, but
Exactly.
movie
Exactly.
rankings.
And before that, Assault on Dark Athena, which is now 21, and then Wheelman. So we've had some good stuff after.
So we have a
some,
top 25 now, officially too.
We have a top 26.
26. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. We'll eventually have like a top 40. How crazy is that?
Well, there's only a top 40, but there's only 40.
Well, right now it
There's
goes
gotta
up
be more
to
than
42 things.
Whatever the final number is, will be like that top whatever Vin films.
Yeah.
Well, we should do an IMDb list of the top Vin films, but it's all
my
his
God.
work.
It's everything.
Everything.
In chronological order. So it's not even like ranked.
But I
Let's
think
talk about
that's how
Vin
we
Diesel.
disguise it, though. We make it ranked, and then people are like, "Oh," and then they're gonna wind up watching the whole thing, this whole
Yeah.
movie list.
Vin Diesel's performance in these two things. This is tricky because his performance in Blindsided is just his performance in Riddick. Just the lines were taken and moved over.
Yeah, I mean, you could read off the list, and I already can tell you where it's gonna go.
I think it's going right above Awakenings. Do you?
Yeah,
You
I'm just
agree?
saying read off the list for the people.
Okay. Oh yeah. I should probably read the list. I forget way more often than I should to read the list. It's just there's a lot of stuff to read. Number 1, this is Vin Diesel's performance. Number 1, Triple X. Number 2, The Fast and the Furious. Number 3, Fast and Furious. Number 4, Find Me Guilty. Number 5, Fast and Furious 6. Number 6, A Man Apart. Number 7, Fast 5. Number 8, The Pacifier. Number 9, The Chronicles of Riddick. 10, Babylon AD. 11, Los Bandoleros. 12, Boiler Room. 13, Multifacial. 14, Pitch Black. 15, Knockaround Guys. 16, Strays. 17, The Chronicles of Riddick, Dark Fury. 18, The Iron Giant. 19, Saving Private Ryan. 20, The Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift. 21, The Chronicles of Riddick, Assault on Dark Athena. 22, Wheelman. 23, The Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay. And 24, Awakenings. I just want to point this out real quick because I know you're about to say something. When I started getting through like the Los Bandoleros Boiler Room Multifacial, I'm like, wait a second. Did I say those names in the other list? I just black out when I read these lists.
I don't blame you. That's why I'm laughing, because it's just like, it's just so many movies you just listed.
I legitimately was like, wait, I skipped Los Bandoleros, and I'm like, I probably didn't. Go on.
No, that I was just laughing at just of how long this list is at this point, and it's just, I'm gonna keep laughing until we're finished. Yeah, I want to, I guess, be devil's advocate and like, and say, how do we not know if Blindsided was done before that scene?
Well, I mean, I think it's very clearly a storyboard, but I feel like he has to be there in the room. It's not an animated thing. Like, the movie itself is not animated. He's sitting in the room, and it's the same lines.
Could just read off the script and,
in the exact same way.
Goated. I don't know.
No.
I'm just trying to play devil. I'm just making sure we check and balance everything. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think this is in between Escape from Butcher Bay and Awakenings, aka second to last.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or we can, just for funsies, make it
put it right below wherever Riddick goes.
No, we're below Awakenings.
Do we want to? Because it's not original. It's copy paste.
Well, but he also probably produced that, right? He put some more work in than him
No,
opening
it's not
a
about
door.
the product itself. It's his voice.
Yeah, but like, didn't he produce that?
But it's not about. Oh,
Remember, it's
I
been ranking.
guess.
It's been ranking.
Yeah.
Well, put it above Awakenings. Even though I was just wanted to see, like, could we?
No, it's fair.
Can we?
It's fair.
Could we in some
Honestly,
way put
because
it below Awakenings? Because poor Awakenings down there doesn't, for being like in the top 10 in the movie ranking. It's like its stock is getting put down because Vin's is only in it for one frame.
I will say this: looking at the upcoming stuff that we have, on the stuff he's actually been in, and not like the cartoons or the things that he's produced or whatever, that hasn't actually been an actor in. The only thing I can think of that has the potential to be worse than Awakenings in terms of his performance in it might be whatever the fuck he does in that music video.
I forget we're doing that music video.
We're going to be
no
doing
way,
Wiz
dude.
Khalifa featuring Charlie Puth.
I just think even
See you again.
even if he like is garbage in that, it's still better than one frame. Unless it's like once again, I think we've said this before, unless Vin like is like homophobic and it's like a documentary and it's like at home, like it's like he's sitting at
and
home
it's proof.
yeah, like he's just like, no, I'm actually like a shitty person, then maybe, but it's not gonna happen. Like it isn't. So you can't. How can you be worse than you're in it for one frame? And not because of his fault. Like it's just he's in the movie for one frame.
Yeah.
Like I said, he'd have to do something so bad on film that it like just awful that it's worse than one frame. I was just thinking about it for a half second.
It's
I'm
more
like,
than one frame. It's a brief scene, but it's more than one frame.
it's it's like two. Okay, it's like 3 frames, whatever. But like he's opening a gate.
It's like 14 frames. No, it's longer than a second. There's 24 frames in a second. Whatever. But yes, Awakenings will always be at the bottom. Unless, I don't know, he becomes really bad.
Yeah. He, like, does a documentary, and it's just him, like, saying slurs for 2 hours. Then I would put that there. But, no, that's not going to happen.
Riddick itself, his performance, I will say this as well, I find it better than any other Chronicles or Riddick stuff so far
100%.
in terms of his performance.
He smiles in this one.
Yes, I mean, it puts it at least above number 9, the Chronicles of Riddick, right?
Yeah, because once I saw Babylon AD, I'm like, yes.
Yes.
I forget about that movie all the time, but lately, as we've been watching these Vin movies, it's been popping up in the suggestion, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, it was same here. Same here. I get a Man Apart and Knockaround Guys mixed up a lot. I think they're the same movie sometimes.
But they're not.
But it's only,
I get what you mean.
Yeah. I think, okay, so we have The Pacifier, then Fast 5. I think it's better than The Pacifier.
Yeah. He's funny in The Pacifier, but he's better than this. He took a character
Fast
that like was a
5
dick and like humanized it. He produced this movie. Let's not forget that. He produced this movie. You got to put some stock into that too.
Bless up.
He put his house on the line.
I don't know if that necessarily counts, but actually, yes. Does that automatically make it number 1 if he was literally willing to risk his family's well-being for this film? Potentially?
No. Because that's one thing. Because I think it would hurt him in a way. Because let's say he did put his family on the line for this, and then the movie sucked ass. That's even worse. That you were like passionate about it, and then it still sucked ass.
Right, but he was passionate about it, and it didn't suck ass. So I feel like that's a positive.
Yeah, but like, I don't know.
But what if? No, it's not what if. I don't think that necessarily makes it number 1.
Yeah, I'm trying to gauge how much stock we should put into like House on the Line.
Fast 5 is an ensemble. He is not. He is the lead, but he's not necessarily hogging the camera.
And
you know what I mean?
And he didn't steal the show. Not that he was needed to. He did his shit. The movie wasn't really about Dominic Toretto, though.
Right.
Which you could say is a plus because he didn't try to steal the show, and the movie isn't about him. Unlike Fast and Furious. But we love that movie because he did steal the show. And that's how I think where we get the Vin Diesel we know. So it's a thin line.
I feel like I want to put it above Fast 5.
I feel that.
A Man Apart. Again, we are different on this. My memories of A Man Apart are not nearly as much as you have.
He smokes a cigarette on the beach.
Yeah, that's like the only thing I remember. I remember more. That's where it does get tricky.
When he wakes up in the hospital because his wife's dead, and he had his.
And he's hurt.
He's hurt. Not just physically, his heart hurt.
Yeah. They were in the sewers at one point.
Cop.
He gets Hollywood Jack to fly a plane. I think he dies anyway. Yeah.
He gets that one dude, and that he's like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not risking my kids, and he still comes and helps them anyways.
Mm-hmm.
God, that movie is incredible. I do think though I think just the fact that Riddick wasn't really a character we loved. And I feel like after this movie, I'm like, yeah, he's cool. Besides some of the rapey shit, but it kind of like I said at the ending, she kind of is like flirting with them a little bit, so maybe it's not as weird. I don't know. People talk dirty sometimes, I guess. Just whatever. But overall, he humanized Riddick more in that movie. He produced that movie. It was the best Chronicles of Riddick film.
Easily.
Because of his work. He's the
so
best
are we
actor.
putting it
He's
above?
the best actor in that movie.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yes.
I mean, everyone else was good too, but like he was the headliner, and he did what he needed to do. So
and he did it better than his previous works.
So I think it's
regard.
above A Man Apart. I think we're top 6 here. Is it above? Is it better than Fast and Furious 6 though?
Fast and Furious 6. It is. the story actually is about him and his search for Letty, and there's like, I don't want to say an attempt at emotion, but there's actual emotions that were required of that character to have, and revelations that the character has, and the reaching out to someone that you thought was lost and they don't know you, and blah 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 blah. I'm being a little bit like pretentious here when I talk about it. Fast and Furious 6, but Riddick doesn't have any of that stuff.
Yeah,
Riddick has a solid Riddick, if that makes sense. It's better than the old Riddicks. Again, the previous Riddick film was in 2004, right?
Yeah. We were still
so
like in we gotta kill brown people mode.
Oh Jesus, I thought you were talking about us specifically.
The United States.
Okay, I thought you meant like us.
2004.
Like we were in 4th grade. Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm sure we had enough propaganda on TV. I'm sure my brain thought about it. Like,
I had never thought about any of that stuff.
Oh.
Legitimately,
I was too attentive as a kid. Still am now. It's weird. Yeah, 2004, man. I think it's above Man Apart. I don't know yet if I want to put it above Fast and Furious 6.
I don't want to put it above Fast and Furious 6.
Okay.
I think it stays below.
All right, that's fine.
I think it stays below.
I just wanted to make sure. Once again, checks and balances. We're double checking.
Sure. I like when we don't have to like legit fight over where these go. It's just like, yeah, I agree.
Vin, do you agree?
Any case.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree, kid. Our top 10 now. It's funny, Riddick Blindsided is 26 and 25 on both of these lists.
I gotta say, we should do like a power rankings at the end of this. Like basically, like, okay, you get a certain amount of points depending where you are on each one, and so we'll say what is the definitive like Vin,
right?
Like the combination of one. Like
we would basically
have,
be
like, what movie would we recommend to people if they never seen any Vin Diesel movie? Like, what would be like? But we have to get a little bit of why Vin is great, and also if the movie's great. We have to combine those two things. So I think at the end of this, like right now, I think it might be
we'd have one singular.
I think
rating.
it might be Triple X because Triple X is number 4, and also number 1. So I'm saying like those. That's a lot of.
The
points.
way I kind of look at it is more of like we ignore these lists completely, and we make one list, so to speak, where it's like, all right, Devin, you are going to give points for all of these things. Number 1. If right now we would have, if Vin Diesel stopped doing anything, 42 things. You'd give your what you think is number 1, 42 points.
I get what you're saying.
And then your number
like,
2, 41.
It's a point system that like, okay, if you're number 1 in movie ranking, that's plus 50 points.
Right, but what I'm saying is that you give your number 1 the maximum points, below that one less. You combine all of those points with the points I give my movies, and then there's a total.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Something like that we should do at the end. Just because then we can be like, yep, Triple X is the definitive, like, all-around, either it's a great movie without Vin, but also is a great movie because Vin.
Exactly. Yeah, Riddick is now number 6, below Fast and Furious 6, and above A Man Apart. The Chronicles of Riddick itself sticking around at number 10, though, in his Vin Diesel performance.
Oh, yeah.
Which is wild, but hey, it is what it is. We have 26 things on this list, and we're about to add just one more next month. December, guys. You will be watching
November.
Guardians of the Galaxy. That's why I said November.
You said December, no?
I said December.
Okay.
December 1st.
Next month. Whatever month it is.
Which is December. Because this episode comes out on November 1st.
That's right. I'm still in October. Go ahead.
And you screwed me up. Now, I thought I was wrong. I was right the whole time, so apologies.
Just like Riddick, right?
Yeah. The 2014 film Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yay. That's fun.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how we do this, because I haven't seen this movie since 2018. When I did a full rewatch leading up to Infinity War.
For me, it was 2019 before Endgame.
Okay.
So,
very similar boats we were in, just marathoning them all.
Yeah.
As opposed to seeking it out, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be interesting because he only says 3 words.
But at least the movie we know is going to be fun. It would be much worse if it was like, Actually, crap movie. We're like, God, we already know what he's gonna say. He says, "I am Groot."
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. It might be like an Awakenings thing where it's really high up and really low, or maybe it's not. Maybe we'll be surprised at the
Number one,
verbose.
Groot.
Yeah, interesting.
Been ranking.
We'll see you next month, December 1st, for Guardians of the Galaxy on the next episode of the Chronicles of Riddick. Remember, folks, we're on Twitter at Sonic Movie Show, which is the name of our main podcast, The Sonic Movie Show, which is a weekly show. I'm on Twitter at Ethan Absolutely, and Devin is on Twitter at Cursona Fun. Let us know what you thought of Riddick. Did you see this in theaters? Are you excited for Riddick 4 Furia? Let us know. And goodbye.
What is it with you? What do you got, a death wish or something?
That's what it takes. I just want to race.